And
working on it.
What are the main important issues that you will focus on?
First
when you're
and
a
foremost,
congressperson?
we have to stop this spending. So if you have $100 and you spend $100, right? That's all the money you have. You don't get to go to your neighbor's house and take
Spend
more
his
money.
$100.
Spend their $100 either, right? So we have to stop this radical, out of control spending. We have to secure our borders. A nation without borders is not a nation. We've had over 2 million illegal immigrant encounters with the Border Patrol since Biden has been in office. So we've got 11,200 pounds of fentanyl was seized coming across the border. That's enough to kill 2.8 billion people. That's over a quarter of the Earth's population worth of fentanyl was seized coming across the border since Biden has been in office. It's unsustainable. If you think about conceptually how many people that is, we had 158,000-ish people enter the country illegally last month. It's unsustainable. And if you think about the misery with human smuggling, for sex trafficking, the drug smuggling that's coming across the border right now, it's unconscionable that we would allow this to take place.
How do the Democrats rationalize this?
don't.
What do they say?
They ignore it.
Do they say it's the right thing to do to let people in?
No, they ignore it.
They don't comment.
They ignore it. And it's time that we pay attention to it. So 2 months ago, I went down to the U.S.-Texas border with Tony Gonzalez. He's a U.S. congressman from that area. He's a retired Navy guy also. Invited me down. We spoke to a couple sheriffs, Border Patrol Union, some farmers, and some ranchers that live on the border. And it was really interesting because one of the sheriffs was a Blue Dog Democrat. The other guy was a Make America Great Again Trump supporter. But both of them said that this simply was not like this when President Trump was in office. So right prior to President Trump taking office, there was a huge influx of illegal immigration. Remember the caravans that were coming up?
I recall.
Okay. And President Trump said, this is not the right thing. This is bad. So he enacted some policies, remain in Mexico, the Title 42, deporting people, actually flying them down.
No more catch and release.
No more catch and release. And the spigot was shut off because of that. The last month that President Trump was in office, 15,000 people came into the country. 15,000.
That's it. Right. Nothing.
We just had 150,000 last month.
10 times.
Right. So we need to understand that these policies have real implications. I live in rural Wisconsin. We're an agricultural district, and we've had hundreds of people overdose on fentanyl. They don't make fentanyl in the United States. So the precursor chemicals or the final chemical itself is produced in China. It's brought into Mexico. If it's not, if it's the fentanyl is actually not produced yet, the precursor chemicals, they make the fentanyl, they press it into pills, they put it in marijuana, they put it in all these different, drugs. It's smuggled into the United States, and then people use it and they die of overdose. The leading cause of death for Americans from the age of 18 to 45 is fentanyl overdose.
I had no idea.
It's the leading cause of death. So it just wasn't like that.
And here the administration is focusing on COVID and masks and vaccines, but the leading cause of death is illegal fentanyl.
18 to
most
45.
of it coming over the border.
90% of the fentanyl that is brought into the United States comes across the southern border. That's a real issue.
In addition, that's an addition to these illegal aliens who come here and use our resources, whether they're medical resources or financial resources, and are bleeding the country, and they don't deserve, they haven't earned the right to have these benefits, to go to school here, to go to the hospitals here, to the emergency rooms here.
I was speaking today, before we got over here, with a Swedish American. So he's born in Sweden, but he's Croatian. He's ethnically Croatian, born in Sweden, came here from the United States. Took him 11 years to become a citizen. Yeah. And he said he'd be the first person to deport anybody from Sweden who's in the United States illegally. This is not a racial issue. It's an issue with following the law.
And this has been a country that has always been open to immigration.
Of course.
My grandparents came here from both sides, my four grandparents, under legal immigration.
We're a nation of
and
immigrants.
they didn't want anything other than opportunity. They didn't ask for anything. They didn't get anything in those times. There was no welfare. They worked hard to make a career. They learned the language. There was no such thing as language in Croatian or Ukrainian or Russia. It was English. And that's how it should be.
We are a nation of immigrants. And that is really, truly one of the strengths of the United States, the melting pot, where we get to take these cultures from around the world. But at the end of the day, we're all Americans. So you talk to, in my district, it's fascinating. We have a large group of Polish Americans that fled communism that now live in the United States. Some of the finest American citizens you're ever going to meet because they came from a place.
They know better.
And they understand how bad it can be.
They get it.